Welcome, Leo, to your 2021 annual reading and forecast. Let's see what there is in store for you, shall we? We'll get some things underway. I'm going to take 4 cards, one for each quarter of the year. The in-depth monthly readings, of course, are produced each month, and if you subscribe, they're delivered directly to you, or you can just have a look at the playlist on my channel. Now, these cards here have a lot of mystical and esoteric imagery in them. I'll use my pen to point out a few of the things, and what that will mean is that it will depend, what the imagery is will determine how I see the future unfolding for you according to the sacred tarot. So let's take 4 cards, shall we? What's this one here? There's the Princess of Wands. Not a very good way to start the year for you, I think. It's a great card, a lot of Leo around that. There's the Star. The great card, not a bad side to that. There's the Emperor. Well, isn't that fitting? For Leo, the Emperor, ruler of the world. And what else is there here? Let's have a look. This deck's called the Thoth deck, incidentally. It's very famous, but a lot of people don't read it properly, in my estimation. There's the Hermit. Okay, let's, why don't you come around, sit down next to me, we'll have a good close look at the imagery together. I'll point out some of the salient features of it, and I'll tell you what it means for you for this year. Right, so now I'm not using these playing cards, by the way, they're just there for the energy. I like their energy, actually. I use them often in personal readings. They just have a very good vibe for them, and they help me with this. Now, of course, just as a reminder, this is the first quarter, so January through March, April through June, July through September, October through December. Now let's have a look at this first quarter for you. Wow, doesn't this look fantastic and exciting? Well, here we have the Princess of Wands, the Princess of the Shining Flame, the Rose of the Palace of Fire. The princess leaps into a flame. She holds in her hand a wand, and pulls a tiger by the tail with the other. The Princess of Wands represents the earthy part of fire, and according to elemental dignity rules, fire and earth strengthen each other but are neutral. In this card, an element of her nakedness is giving her body, earth, a combustible relationship with fire, and this implies that you may, from time to time, have something of a reactive personality. Now, this is very much in tune for Leo, for you, astrologically, but I also see Virgo and Cancer as being important to you. Now, during this time, it says to me that you will be very energetic, be very individualistic, be brilliant and daring, expressive in love or in anger, and have a great deal of enthusiasm with you. You will be a person who is almost omnivorous in passion of whatever kind, and maybe sometimes entirely reckless in the means of obtaining gratification, and you'll be insatiable. Let's have a look at some of the symbology on the card, shall we? First of all, here she is. Now, she's leaping in the flame. She's in the flame itself. This suggests to me that she is turning her back on the mundane and doing with her passions and does what inspires her. Now, the sun wand that she has 30 rays, and it is reference to the sun, which of course is your ruler. The wand represents her energy, vitality, and enthusiasm. Now, of course, it goes without saying that she's naked, but what this does is it shows that she is not afraid to fully express herself. Now, there is no earth present in here, and she gives herself up to the flame, so she can be a very fiery character. And what you have to make sure is during this time that you do retain some level of grounding. Now, the tiger that is here, well, the tiger traditionally in Tarot represents fear and is known to be a fearful animal. So fear is something that she has tamed. It signifies her courage and her lack of fear. Now you may be able to see it on this altar. There are 5 roses on top of this gold altar. They are the passion of the 5 senses ruled by the fire. The altar itself is, well, it's the color of gold, which again is reference to the sun. And there are 2 rows of ram's heads. Here's the top row and here's the bottom row. One inverted, one upright, with 12 in each row, because there are 3 on each of the 4 sides. Now these represent the equal length of day and night of the spring equinox. Now as for these, her headdress here, or her crown, they are ostrich plumes, and in the ancient Egyptian religion they would be the crown of Maat, which is justice, and the daughter of adjustment. Now, this says to me that you, because she does, she has a sense of justice, albeit of her own unique kind. And this means that she can, well, sometimes be, it's got to be said, can be quite vengeful, and possibly cruel when she feels that she has been wronged. To reiterate, this represents a person who is confident, daring, exciting, freedom-loving, nonconformist, possibly impulsive, but certainly ambitious. And people are going to love your character and energy. You are going to be very attractive, physically attractive to other people. Now beware, I do get a feeling around here also of someone who could be vengeful or temperamental or unruly. Of course, that wouldn't be you, but this is just the energy that's coming up here. I think this also means you overcoming old fears and patterns, which is the tiger, and setting yourself free from them. You have brought them to the surface and conquered them, although you often learn lessons the hard way. Now we're going to look, we drew the star card next. I've accidentally put it there. There's your card here. This was the next card that we drew, was the star. Thought it was something unusual, then I placed it down in the wrong position. Now, here we have the star. Well, look, there really isn't a bad side to this card at all. It's fantastic. Let's have a look at it. Major Arcana, of course. Well, she is the daughter of the firmament. It's Saturn ruling Aquarius with Neptune exalted. Aquarius is all about the individual and uniqueness, and yet it has an overall humanitarian outlook, I think. Well, the star shares these qualities in that it is trying to remind you of the divinity and the uniqueness which is within you. And it is encouraging you to bring down your highest potential. This is a time of inspiration, of crystallization, self-recognition, radiating, and a clear vision and trust in yourself. I think it's also about hope and happiness and opportunities coming through here. And optimism, as I say, optimism. Let's have a look at some of the symbology in this, because it does determine how I read it. Well, first of all, she's holding up here a golden cup. Well, God, the Father, is associated with gold and the sun. She is pouring the limitless potential of God upon herself, and she becomes a conduit for that energy to manifest itself. Yes, it is the water of universal life, and has been referred to biblically as the Word, and meditated upon as a inner light and sound. Now, just inside here, it may be difficult for you to make out, but there is a little blue star. Now, blue, for me, has an esoteric association with the planet of Venus, and there are 7 points here on this star, and the planet Venus rules the 7th area of manifestation in the mind of the divine before the emergence of matter from spirit, which itself is ruled by Venus. So this is the 7-pointed star of Venus, I think, which is coming from the golden cup. and it says that the entire universe is love. Now the silver cup down here is about the moon and illusion. As energy becomes manifest in the world, its purity is lost as it is further from its source. Nevertheless, this is the blood of the Holy Grail, and it is poured on the junction between land and water. And this water here, this stuff out here, difficult to see, but that represents a sea, the creative sea. Up in this corner up here, there's so much symbology in this card. Up in this corner here is the Star of Babylon, and it has the number 7 drawn within it 7 times. Babylon was a secret name used by mystics for a few centuries in the Middle Ages. It unites everything in this card as its rays spiral out, touching all of the symbolism contained. In this way, this is a channel for the inspiration and energy of the divinity. Now this globe, which is standing in the middle here, you might think that that is the Earth, right? Well, actually, it's mistaken as the Earth, but it is in fact the universe of which the Earth is a part. The star of Venus spirals out to fill the whole of the globe. Now this crystalline earth structure, which is down here, this is the manifested world. There are 27-sided translucent objects, and these exhibit the geometry of matter which are not found in spiritual realms. Now there are 5 little butterflies around here in this right-hand corner. They represent liberated souls free of the trappings of the mind and matter. 3 red roses down here. Beneath these butterflies, they symbolize fertility. Roses are also associated with Venus and love. Three, two, one. So I think that what this is saying for you is that you will be fulfilled and inspired by life. It is a reminder to follow your dreams and that which gives you the most inspiration. Be open to love and trust creation and what it brings. And there is the encouragement being given to you now that you have had some testing times in the past, but now that it's time to move forward with renewed hope and live an inspired life in which you can express yourself fully. Let your star rise and stay in contact with the earth. Trust your environment and find ways to let others share in it. You will be tested and recognized by the fruits you bear. Well, then we go to the 3rd quarter, and let's have a look to see what you have here. The Emperor. Well, isn't that just ideal for you? This is the astrology is Mars ruling Aries with the Sun, your planet, exalted. Now let's have a look at some of the symbology in it, because it will tell us what is going on with the card itself. Now, there's a lot in here. We won't get through all of it, but if you can look at this is like a triangle, isn't it? The shape of the body is like a triangle, and it's above a cross. This is talking about the domination of spirit over matter. Also, sulfur is the fiery element of the universe, and so he and you may be volatile and fiery. You'll have an active personality and won't have something which is passive. The crown has 4 points on it, and the jewels also have 4 facets in them. And his gold crown is symbolic of the sun, which is behind him here. So your planet all over this. And the sun, of course, as the Emperor brings him into touch with Aries, because the sun is exalted in Aries. Now the number 4, as I see here, and you can see it here, there's almost like a number 4 in his legs and the 4 crowns. That means giving, loving, wanting to give to people. Now the orb with the Maltese cross above it, which is in his left hand, do you see this here? This is over his navel chakra, or procreative area, and it symbolizes his energy and ability to govern. The bees, which are on his garment, are about energy and industriousness. Bees are very organized, aren't they? And so this represents his ability to govern others and be a leader. And I think this is what you will be during this time, seen by others as being a natural leader. You might ask yourself, what are these things here, these two starred discs which are on the throne? They have 16 points on each star, and this is the atomic number for sulfur. And of course, if we look at this red everywhere here, we get sulfur, but also we have that from the attribute of Mars. Down the corner here is the fleur-de-lis symbol. That's a symbol of rulership from the French monarchy, emphasizing the theme of rulership in this card. And anything else of interest? Double-headed eagles, Agnus Dei, the Lamb of God. I could go on, but I won't. I think that during this period, you may well be primarily concerned with control over other people or yourself. You will, as I say, be a natural leader and organizer. You will have willpower and judgment, and this is a result of your life experiences. You are going to obtain success through discipline and application. And interestingly, I think you're actually going to be quite a rational thinker. Do you know, status is going to be very important to you at this time, as is material security, so I can see you doing things in relation to that. I see you as an initiator and a lot of creative wisdom, great leadership qualities, the urge for action, some adventurousness, new beginnings, and there is a great degree of fatherhood around here as well. This is a really good time for change or for a new beginning. Trust your own energy and move with it. What revitalization is your life going to require at that time? And ask yourself then, are there steps you would like to take towards this? You'll examine yourself critically, especially in regard to your relationship with subordinates or superiors. Have this thought in mind. I enjoy initiating projects. I value and honor my leadership ability. I am a person of integrity. I trust my power. I rule by serving. I serve by ruling. Well, let's have a look, shall we, finally, at what's going on in the last quarter, the end of the year for you. Let's see what there is. This is the Hermit. The Hermit, the prophet of the eternal, the magus of the voice of power. This is Mercury ruling Virgo, with Virgo exalted in this card. Let's see here. So I see you being a mentor. You'll have a great love of learning, I think, at the end of the year. Do you know, and you'll almost have like an illumination from within, almost as if it's like a divine inspiration. And you know, you'll show a great degree of wisdom. I think people are going to come calling upon you for advice, and that the advice that you give them is going to be good. Now, looking at some of the imagery that's on the card here itself, well, the Hermit itself implies solitude and independence. The wisdom imparted through the connection with one's higher self happens silently in this card and not outwardly. It's almost like planting the seed and letting it bear fruit. So this is a wisdom that's going to grow into you over time during this period. This Hermit himself, in the red color, is in the biblical Hebrew letter, which is known as a Yud. It's the first Yud-He-Vav-He, or YHVH, Yahweh. It's the first letter of that divine name. And so it is talking about the seed of wisdom within people. Now, the wheat in the background that you can see here, that links in agriculture and Virgo. I see Virgo in the card. The growth of wheat, the growth of inner wisdom. So you are surrounded by the wisdom of your insights gained by contemplation and experience. Now look at this strange headdress that he's got here. This is like an ibis bird. Well, the ibis was associated with the god Thoth in Egyptian mythology, and Thoth is the god of the written word. Now he has a diamond lantern, as we'd expect a hermit to have a lantern. Here it is down here, a diamond lantern. That's a symbol of the divinity, that diamond. And it is the expression, when it descends, it becomes the expression of the highest of the divinity within us. This is a point at which one might find Krishna in the Hindu tradition, or Christ within the Christian tradition. Now the sun, which is inside this diamond lantern here, this is also covering his genitals. So it suggests that the hermit uses the light of spirit in creative ways to learn more about himself and his place in the world. Now the yellow rays coming up from the lantern, one of them energizes this, what can only be called as a sperm here in the left-hand corner. Another one energizes the apex of the pyramid here, and another illuminates what's this thing called? What's that dog? Cerberus from the old mythology, or the lower nature, indicating the dead phallus after ejaculation. And the fourth ray represents this Orphic egg that's up here. Now, inside this sperm, there is actually a fetus in here, and that goes back to old beliefs that a sperm cell contained a tiny, complete human, which was called a homunculus. I'm just looking at this dog down here with the three heads. Now the head which is going forward has its mouth open, which refers to speech. The middle head, and this is the highest head here, that is about thought, and it's above action and speech. And there's a head looking back, action. So the whole idea about the inclusion of this dog in this card is about the taming of the lower self and raising it to be a vehicle for the expression of the higher self, so that you are in effect a channel of spirituality in the world. Now the Orphic egg that's up here, sometimes people have heard that, they don't know quite what it is, but I think it is a symbol of the manifested universe. But in this case, it is the subjective universe of the individual, and the hermit is looking straight into it, isn't it? To look more about himself. The egg is green, which is the color of Venus. Now, this may well see you getting away from a situation in order to get a better insight into it. You're becoming aware of something, I think, at that time that you were previously unaware of, and possibly about spending some alone time together. Need to get back into yourself, and very much about this sense of wisdom that's all around you at this time. Accept your aloneness if you do spend some time by yourself, and don't concern yourself with people who don't understand you, who would rather see you be part of the herd. If you should meet someone who is a wise teacher, then join her or join him. And at this time, you want to consider whether you have any unresolved situations or relationships in your life. Say to yourself, I enjoy my aloneness because I can stop being alone wherever I want. I enjoy the feeling of completion and resolution, because you will be completing projects here. I will not compromise that which is important to me. That's very much the energy coming through. What a fantastic year for you. That is the way it is for you this year. Well, there you go, 2021 in a snapshot. It's been great fun doing that reading for you, and I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did providing it to you. Now, I look forward to seeing you in the monthly readings, okay? But until then, just remember one thing always, and it is this, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, it's bye for now.